If Beale Street Could Talk is written and directed by Barry Jenkins, who most people know from his really critically acclaimed work, Moonlight. I've heard some people say that Moonlight is one of the best films ever made, and I don't argue with those people. I also obviously think that it's a masterful work of art as well. It was definitely my top 2 or top 3 films that came out that year. And I also have a full film deconstruction analysis of this film that I put a lot of work into really early on when I made this channel. So if you guys want to check that out, that would be awesome. So it's needless to say that I was obviously very excited to see this film. I've had very high expectations for this film right from the get-go. And the only reason why I haven't seen it until now is because it just wasn't playing in my area at all. And, only until now, after it's getting a lot of Golden Globe buzz and a lot of Oscar buzz, that they decided to release it somewhere near me. So, finally got to see it, and walking out of it, it is a beautiful and breathtaking piece of filmmaking. This is an incredibly impressive follow-up to Moonlight, because going into this, I wasn't going in with the expectation that this would be as good or better than Moonlight, because Moonlight is just like the peak of what makes cinema amazing. So of course, I'm not going in thinking it's gonna really match that. And it doesn't, because I do have some flaws with it and some issues that I'll dive into later. But I was really impressed that he was able to make another film after Moonlight that still has the ability to really emotionally impact you and really make you think about socially relevant topics. It's honest, it's real, it's beautiful, but also tragic, it's thought-provoking, and what I really, really enjoyed most about this film is that it was incredibly nuanced while also being fair and not being overly pandery to one side. Because I found this film to be a very intimate film, and I haven't really used that word to describe many films that I've seen, but that was kind of the first word that came into my head when I was thinking, what did this film make me feel? And I felt like it was really personal and really intimate because of just the way that it's filmed. And because of its kind of intimate direction, it really forces you to put yourselves into the main character's shoes, and it really helps you try to understand how they're experiencing American society. And I think that was an excellent touch to the film, because it really does force you to confront the harsh reality that our American system has unfortunately put a lot of passion and energy at keeping minorities down. And it unfortunately makes it to where this entire group of people cannot comfortably live life because they're just in this constant mental state of fear. Because at any second, they could be framed for something that they didn't do. They could be unfairly judged in the court and get years and years for something that was a minor crime. They can't even find a place to live because nobody wants to rent out their lofts to them or rent out any apartment to them. It just really shows you how much that this group of people really had to deal with and are, somewhat still dealing with now. And through this, I really appreciated how this film was able to convey how this kind of fear can really turn grown adult people into really scared children who are just so afraid of how society is going to treat them at every turn. But one of my main issues that I have with this film has to do with the fact that the female lead character in this movie, played by an actress named Kiki Lane, her character basically narrates portions of this film. Some of those portions just felt like it was unnecessary and at times diluted the scene that it was presenting. For example, there's one scene in particular where it shows her at her job as this perfume salesperson, and she narrates the entire scene about how she notices these kinds of subtle differences between different races of people and how they treat her at her job. And the scene visually shows you it almost to perfection, but it gets diluted because you have this character who is just kind of explaining the entire thing to you, and it just seemed less impactful the way it was done. And there's also a few portions where, she's talking about her frustration, towards society and the system. And, at times it felt like you didn't really need to explain all that because we're already kind of getting it from the story of this film and with the character situations. So at times it felt like it was just getting a little too preachy and just a little unnecessary. But overall, I do feel like this film handled its thematic content with finesse, and it really does it in a really nuanced and fair way. But I also like how the film showed you how even if you are a victim of something, that doesn't grant you this automatic, moral virtue of who you are. Because sure, bad things have happened to you, but it hits a point to where if you're caring so much about yourself that it's actually horribly affecting other people and you don't even care, I mean, that's just a whole new level of just like selfish arrogance. I just like how it showed you that even though you might be a victim of a serious crime, it doesn't mean that you're automatically a good person. And I think that was a really important theme in this film that definitely needed to be addressed. By the way, the performances in this film are excellent. Basically everybody in this film just gives an astonishing performance. Kiki Lane, like I just said, was a wonderful lead in this movie. Stephan James, who plays the husband of Kiki's character, also just gave an astonishing performance in this film. Teyonah Parris, who won the Golden Globe, also just an astounding performance. And after seeing it, I'm kind of happy she won the award because I think she deserved it. And the aesthetics. I haven't even talked about the aesthetics yet. But the aesthetics are perfect. There is absolutely nothing about the aesthetics that I would change. The cinematography is just beautiful and purposeful and creative, and also really immersive. But what I really enjoyed about this film was also just the way that it's put together and the way that it's edited. It just all feels very seamless and very smooth. It makes great use of layer dissolves as it kind of transitions between different scenes. And overall, I just love the way this film is presented to you because it just feels very comfortable and very easy to watch. Even though at times it does kind of feel like it's dragging a bit, especially in the second act. It seems like some scenes maybe are going on for just a little too long. But the way that it's directed and the way that it utilizes its camera work, it really makes you sit through the scene without being bored, even though you know that it's kind of going on for quite a bit. And the score for this film is just so magnificent. I mean, it's so fitting to the era, and it's also just really immersive and emotional. And I really love the score to this film, and I'm happy that a lot of other people are really talking about the score because it's just really beautiful to listen to, and it really accompanies the film in such a unique and refreshing way. And there's also one scene in particular in the first act of this film that involves this really harsh conflict between the main characters of this film, and I just thought it was really captivating and really entertaining. I don't really react that loud when I'm watching movies. I kind of keep it to myself. But when I was watching this film, I actually reacted loudly when I was watching it because it was just really satisfying to hear what these characters were saying to each other and the way that it ended. It was just, I don't know, it was a really fun first act. So I'm going to give If Beale Street Could Talk an 8.8 out of 10. There's no doubt in my mind that if I were to have watched this film before I made my top 16 best movies of the year list, this would have definitely been on there. I mean, hell, it might have been on my top 10. I don't know. I might go back and edit my letterbox and see if I can switch some things around. But I really enjoyed this movie, and it's definitely one of the best films to come out in 2018. I obviously highly recommend everybody to see this film. If you really loved Moonlight, I think you'll also love this film. You probably won't love it as much as Moonlight, obviously, but there's so much in this film to really appreciate. But anyways, those are my thoughts on If Beale Street Could Talk. If you've already seen the film, I would love to hear your thoughts on it, so please comment below and let me know what you think. And if you really liked what I had to say about If Beale Street Could Talk, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the Misfit Pawn channel to be updated on more film-related content.